Back from the dead.
Hi everyone, FailcoPunch here. I've been asked a lot, so this is my first video on how to build heroes in Gigantic, starting with one of my favorites, Tyto the Swift. Tyto is a hit-and-run melee hero and one of Gigantic's assassins. Tyto has many builds that are useful, each one filling a different role, to help you against whatever team comp you face. When it really comes down to it, Tyto has 3 different builds: the Bleed build, the Windborn build, and the Cleanse build. Each build strong in its own way, plays different than the others. I'm going to talk about the Bleed build first. Okay, so the first thing we want to take is actually going to be Hidden Talon. This is a dodge LMB attack, and Tyto will lunge further, automatically crit, and inflicts bleeding. And you can use this once every 8 seconds. We want to take that because that's really going to do a lot of damage. That's a big bleed you can apply to people every 8 seconds. And since if you play Tyto, you should be using your dodge attack a lot anyway, so this just adds some more damage to it. Scrub that. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is do Cut Down. So your swoop is actually a really big part of Tyto's damage. It's either really good for executing people or getting away. So in the case of the Bleed build, you're going to actually want Cut Down, where Swoop to Loop is very much an escape ability. We want Cut Down. So as a second ability, this is going to be massive to our arsenal because Swoop is going to inflict 50% more damage on targets below 50% health. So we want that. Alright, so Swoop did a lot of damage to that guy. So we're going to try the Swoop again. Sky is below 50. Alright, now he's dead. He's out of there. Alright, so the next thing I want to get in this build is actually going to be Easy Strider. This is going to help us keep up with enemies and escape a little bit easier. The Bleed build kind of puts you in danger a lot since you're just trying to do damage all the time with your swoop, with your bleeds, all this. So Easy Strider is going to allow us to move 10% faster permanently, and sprinting will now drain stamina 25% slower. Really useful for an assassin since you're running around all the time. So real quick, let's watch how much stamina we use without that. Alright, it's not that significant. So let's try adding Easy Strider to that now. It's a lot slower. Alright. So the next thing we're going to get is Bleed Dance. This is pretty essential for the Bleed builds. The other one, you just drain no stamina with Bleed Dance. You move faster. It's really strong, but it doesn't do as much damage as Bleed Dance does. That it inflicts the damage over time. It's really useful. So it inflicts bleeding on hit for 3 seconds. The bleed stacks up to 10 times. So that can stack up to 50 HP per second. That is pretty significant. So let's get that. Let's see what it does. And of course you can hit multiple targets with it. So you want to kind of like combo that. Alright, let's try comboing it. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna stand over here. Alright. Alright. So that is the bleeds combined together. That's a lot of bleed. That did a lot of that guy's health, so it's pretty strong bleed damage. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna get is actually going to be Rake. This will complete our bleed part of our build here. So, unlike Predatory Instincts is really good, and you can obviously get this with this build. You can. This does a lot of damage. It's great. It resets Swoop. Really strong ability. But Rake is going to be how we deal damage with the Bleed build in particular. So we're going to grab that. It inflicts a powerful bleed if you hit a already bleeding foe. 75 HP over 3 seconds. That's pretty sweet. And remember, they have to already be bleeding first for this to inflict a more powerful bleed. Alright, let's try it out. Alright. And remember, you can use swoop early as an early initiate. Alright, so you can actually use swoop to initiate after you get somebody bleeding. Alright, so that is what Rake does. With all the bleeds combined, it's pretty powerful. Alright, so the next thing we're going to get, the really essential ability, you want to get Skirmishing. Skirmishing will help keep you in the fight longer. It's arguably one of the best upgrades you can get. Your stamina will regen faster while in combat. Out of combat, health regen starts 2 seconds sooner. So you can technically have an advantage over somebody who does not have an ability like this. You have a 2-second advantage if you think about it. That's really useful, helps you get into fights, helps you get out of fights, and helps you chase. Alright. Not much to really show you with skirmishing other than alright, so the next thing we're going to get is going to actually be we're gonna grab Pounce. So Fang's gonna deal 150 armor ignoring damage. That kind of is just a nice little bonus to the rest of our build. Let's just grab that. And he's bleeding. Alright, so that's pretty fun. Alright, let's grab... And remember, with Fang, you have to aim. You have to be really good at aiming to get that Fang to go exactly where you want. Alright, so the next thing we're going to get is going to be Cyclone. I would say Deadly Dance is pretty hard to actually make work because you have to kind of stick on an enemy, and this can be difficult if your targets are in groups of areas a lot. It could be hard to get in there and do this to one enemy. It is really good though, and if you think you can use it properly, I suggest trying it out. Because if an enemy reaches the maximum stacks of bleed, your left mouse button gets a damage boost, which is 25% damage for 3 seconds. That's pretty strong. So, really, it's your choice on this one. Cyclone, obviously you can kind of hit more targets, and that can be really useful too if you're having trouble. You don't want to get too close to enemies. So, it's up to you. Alright, I'm going to show you Deadly Dance though. Alright. So it does a lot. You get the 25% damage boost, which is really useful. Alright, we're going to try it again here. Alright. So we're going to try it one more time right over here. Alright, so it did quite a lot. Alright, so remember, before you swoop with Rake, you want to make sure they're bleeding. That's just one thing, don't forget that, it's really useful. The next thing I like to get is Gnawing Out. On hit, Fang cracks target's armor, so they get minus 10 armor for 3 seconds. That's pretty useful if you're an assassin in general. Having targets with armor crack, oh man, it's really nice. It makes it a lot easier to do damage to them. Your bleed will get through. It's great. Ankle Biter is also really strong, but I usually go this if I'm having trouble with a trip. If a trip's getting away or something like that, I like to slow him and kind of jump on him, cripple him, and kill him. So that's my suggestion for this one. If you're having trouble chasing targets, Ankle Biter is great. If you're having... if there's like a lot of tanky people on the other team, Gnawing Out is really strong. So I'm going to grab that. You can see that his armor's cracked. He's bleeding a lot. Alright. And there we go. He didn't even do any damage to me. It's a pretty strong upgrade. Alright, the last one I want to talk about is encirclement tactics. Evade defenses is also very good. Your hidden talon deals extra damage if you hit the back or the side. So honestly, this is a question for you. Where's your positioning? Are you finding yourself able to sneak up on targets easily? Or are you relying on Blade Dance a lot? So really, this is up to you. Either one of these are really good. This one depends if you're really good at hitting with hidden talon and you find yourself in the back of your targets a lot. And encirclement tactics is basically you want to use your bleed dance first, and then you want to dodge LMB into people. And if you hit, it will reduce the cooldown of your bleed dance by 2 seconds. So let's try that out. Alright, so it cooled it down a bit, which is great. It's a really useful upgrade, but honestly, it depends. Are you finding people facing you a lot, or do you just want to use Bleed Dance more often? Alright. So that's the bleed build. Really fun build. You can change up your LMB to basically anything you want. You don't have to go hidden talon, but I think it really makes sense for the bleed build. Most of your abilities will apply a bleed, and you kind of just go off of that. Alright, on to the next build. Okay, so the next build I want to talk to you about is a build that builds focus quickly, deals a lot of damage with swoop, and gives ranged characters a hard time. This is going to be the Windborn build. Alright, so right off the bat, I like to start this build off with Kith and Keen. I like this path a lot. Basically, your LMBs, if you hit people with them, hits build crit chance and focus 2 times faster. So you'll have a lot of focus in every game if you use this path. So we're going to grab that for this. Just to demonstrate, I want to show you how fast you actually build focus. Look how much our focus bar went up from just that alone. And remember, this is your LMBs grant focus faster with this. But you can see the numbers get more highlighted, and that shows we're actually critting. So let's look at it again. There they go. They turn yellow when you crit. You can see it. So we're critting quite a lot, which is great. So the next thing I want to get right off the bat, I want to grab Cut Down. Swoop inflicts 50% damage on targets below 50% health. Awesome build. Path, love it. It's going to help you finish off people. Unlike Rake, which was there to deal damage during a fight, Cut Down is there to finish off low targets in this build in particular. So we're going to grab that. I know I've already shown you what Swoop does, but I felt like killing that guy. Alright. So the next thing we're going to get Easy Strider. 10% faster, sprinting drains stamina 25% slower. You've seen this in the last build. I still really love this path, so we're getting that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get Predatory Instincts. We're taking that over Rake because in this case, like I said, we're executing people. So we're using Swoop to finish them off. So Swoop will actually do 100% damage on targets below 25% health. So that's an 100% bonus on the damage. That's pretty strong. Killing an enemy with this skill resets the cooldown. That's really good too. So basically you use that to kill somebody, and then maybe you can use it to get away from somebody else or even kill somebody else. I'll show you this now. That's how it works. So it's there to kill people, and you can have a lot of fun with just basically hopping from target to target if you get lucky enough and if it's basically the right time. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, the next thing we want to get to finish this off is skirmishing. So you'll be able to just get in there, get out, hopefully run away from people who are near your target, who you kill. And I really like skirmishing in general. It's just amazing. So we're grabbing that. So the next thing we're going to get that really defines this build in particular is going to be Windborne. And you say, why not Bleed Dance? Well, you can. You can do that. Go ahead. Get Bleed Dance. Bleed Dance deals damage. If you want to go Predatory Instincts with Bleed Dance, that is totally fair. But if you're having trouble with ranged characters, I highly suggest Windborne. This ability gets you in and out of fights relatively fast. Bleed Dance will drain no stamina and you move faster. So remember, if you're having a lot of trouble, if there's a lot of ranged characters on the other team, you might want to consider Windborne over Bleed Dance. We really want hard target up there. So we're going to grab this first. So watch how fast you go with this. You really move, and it drains absolutely no stamina. So it becomes more of an escape and a versatile kind of move rather than just one to deal damage. It still does damage, but it doesn't apply a dot like Bleed Dance does. Alright. So the next thing we want to do, we want to grab what I got this ability for. We want to grab Hard Target. During Blade Dance, reflect projectiles from front. So this will help you a ton with ranged characters. If you're having trouble with Mozu, you're having trouble with, Beckett, HK, whatever. This will deflect anything that is a projectile. Remember, this doesn't stop Mozu focus. This doesn't stop Mozu's beams, just for projectiles. Remember that. Same with Charnock. It doesn't reflect his flames. It doesn't reflect his fire field, just his LMBs. Everybody's LMBs, and for Beckett, in Beckett's case, it also reflects her Q, reflects her cannon. So just remember that and use it wisely. Remember, it's only from the front. So if you're running away from a fight, try to make sure you're positioning the reflect at your front as you back up from fights. Alright, so we're getting this over Windswept because Windswept is extremely useful, but it is an escape through and through. This is the cooldown for Blade Dance is set to 6 seconds, increases each time an enemy is hit. So you want to use this to run away, not help you out with fights. So that's the only difference between these two. So we're gonna grab this. All right, see, reflecting. We gotta focus. All right, so Tyto's focus is really useful. It applies a massive bleed. You dash through people, and it just deals a lot of damage. But really, it's that bleed that's really useful. Alright, we're gonna kill this guy. Alright. Let's demonstrate the reflect one more time. Oh! Alright, so he got reflected, which is exciting. And Predatory Instincts just basically finish them all off. It's a lot of damage. Alright, so the last big thing I'm interested in this build is actually going to be Talon and Fang. I like this ability a lot with this. So basically, after hitting with Fang, you have a higher crit chance, 50% crit chance, and crit bonus, which is 10% damage for 5 seconds. That's pretty nice. So that's basically going to make our LMBs do even more damage. So we want that. We want that. The other ability, Synchronicity, is extremely useful as well. You perform a lunging attack after using Fang. I like that, but I like the benefits this has over that. I like the LMB damage increase. We already have higher crit chance, Alright, so the next and last thing, the last things we're going to upgrade are Fang. So, if you've never tried Unity, you should definitely try it. It's a lot of fun. But in this case, we're still going to go Pounce. We're going to go Pounce because it's going to help us deal even more damage, right? We're going to also get Gnawing Out, once again, to crack target's armor. It's just really useful, especially with predatory instincts. It kind of just allows you to shred if you hit everything right. So watch. Alright, so we get that damage boost on our LMB. That guy's dead. We got Windborn. No stamina has been used. And he's dead. Alright. This is probably my favorite build on Tyto. It's a lot of fun. Still keep your swoop damage. Just a lot of damage. And allows you for some mobility, which I really love. So that was the Windborn build. Alright guys, so this is the last build I'm going to show you. And remember, all of these builds have different variations and different upgrade paths. You don't have to take everything in the order I do, but these are just suggested paths that I have for you. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do, we're going to build the Cleanse build. We're going to take Kith and Keen, which you've already seen, and then we're going to take Swoop to Loop. Basically, this is going to give us a further leap, give us a 5-second speed boost, but we no longer attack on landing. So this is really for getting out of situations. If you're having trouble with a lot of CC, you know, teams with, you know, a Margrave and a Paco, and maybe a Wu too. Things like that, if you're having lots of trouble, let's say there's a ton of range characters on the other team, they all have a potential to apply damage over time to you. You might want to think about getting Swoop to Loop. So we're going to grab that. The next thing I want to grab is going to be Windborn. Remember, this build is made to be basically get in, get out, do some damage, be annoying, but don't get caught. Don't get, you know, CC'd down. So we're going to go Windborn for that. And then I want to get what we actually want this whole time. We want Free as a Bird. So this is going to make our Swoop Cleanse debuffs, and now we can break free from Disruption, which is stun, launch, or interrupts, or being immobilized. So think about it this way. You can get out of Margrave stun, you can get out of Paco stun, you can get out of launch from trip, stun from trip, interrupts from Wu or Ashlyn or Voden's Focus. You know, any immobilizing thing, you can get out of it. So this is really fun to use, actually. It'll just cleanse all those damage over times off of you and allow you to escape from situations you might not be able to otherwise. Spin Cycle is a lot of fun. Basically, you use this to reset your cooldown for Blade Dance. It's a lot of fun, but in this particular case, we're getting this. Really useful for just keeping you alive. We're getting that next. So to demonstrate, I'm going to show you what it does. Alright, so we're burning now. Oh, we're cleansed, and we have a speed boost. It's pretty great. So these little guys can't interrupt me, but I did show you the cleanse. It's unimpressive in the training arena, but I swear it's good. Alright, so the next thing we want to get Easy Strider and Skirmishing again. We don't need any more cleanses. One is enough on our swoop, and it's a 9-second cooldown. It's pretty good. Alright, so the last thing we're still getting Hard Target to reflect the projectiles from the front. Makes us a really annoying person to deal with. Remember, you can still use your dodge attack. It's just not going to do as much damage. Hit me! Just kidding, Quiz! Alright. So that's that important parts of this build down. The next thing I want to do is I want to make our LMBs just a bit stronger. So we are going to get Talented Fang again. But it gives us more damage. So basically a lot of our damage is coming out of our LMBs. So we're grabbing this. And then we're going to get... Well, this is up to you. You could do Pounce. You could do Gnawing Out. You could do... Or you could try Unity. This will give you an even more weird kind of build. I've been using this lately. It's still a lot of fun. And of course, this is just a suggestion. You can do whatever you want with Fang. I usually upgrade him last or close to last. Depends how I'm feeling. If I'm having trouble with armor, I'll upgrade him a little sooner. If I'm not, I usually will try something new or weird on him. So Unity is a lot of fun. I'm going to show you that. So basically you throw Fang at a target, you hit them, and you could tap E again to appear at Fang's target. He stops attacking, but it gives you some distance. It's pretty interesting. Let me show you that here. Alright. And because I hit with Fang, I had a damage boost for just a bit. Alright. So there you go. We're going to finish this Fang upgrade because it's a lot of fun. Basically, you could gain haste once you teleport, or you could disrupt your target. You could daze them. I think this one is a lot of fun since Tyto has no CC really, and they took out the interrupt on his focus. I think this one is actually a lot of fun to use. Alright, so let's watch this. Alright, wait till he attacks. Daze! I want to do it one more time. Hold on. Daze. It's really fun. It's really unexpected. It can get you up to places that you don't feel like walking to. Things like that. A lot of fun. I really enjoy that build, even if I don't take it that much. Alright, let's try to get this guy. Oh yeah. Alright, now I'm up here. It adds even more mobility to your insane mobility, which is why I find it really fun to use. Alright, so that was the cleanse build. I know it didn't show too much of cleansing. Oh, I could do it again. Cleanse! But I'm telling you, it is a really useful build, and although it's more situational, I'd say, if you want to be annoying, if you want to just kind of make sure you don't get destroyed by dots and CC, I'd suggest that build. Anyway, thanks for watching that, guys. The last thing I'm going to talk about are the talents you have access to. The skill specializations. Each one is good and really can go with any build, although I'd suggest Pet Projectile for the bleed build, where Fang travels further and it has a 33% reduced cooldown, and during clash your LMB deals 10% damage against bleeding foes. Really useful, makes sense to have with that build. You're going to be throwing Fang a lot, getting damage with your LMBs, and since most people will be bleeding half the time if you're on them, 10% damage is extremely good. For the Windborne build, I'd suggest Equilibrium. Since your Q is going to be what you do a lot of the time to stop damage from hitting you, Blade Dance will last 50% longer, and during clash you get armor during Blade Dance. This is really useful, so you'll be able to basically be even more annoying to the range that are giving you trouble with this. The last talent, I would say, the cleanse build can use either swooping it up or equilibrium. It depends how you feel. Swooping it up is great, and I suggest trying it out and seeing if you like it. Swoop gives 15 stamina, which is really cool. That could be the difference between you catching up to somebody after swooping them or being able to get out. And during the clash, you get -3 cooldown if you're below 50% health. That could be useful. That could save your life, especially with cleanse. Let's say you use your cleanse and then you're put at 50% health. You can use it only a few seconds afterwards, so to possibly cleanse you again. So it's up to you, really. All of these builds can incorporate any one of Tyto's abilities, and it's really up to you to analyze the competition, see what comp the enemy's got, and build Tyto accordingly. So I hope you've enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed showing you Tyto the Swift.